Hi guys, so I wanted to jump on here and talk about an astrological technique that is called profection. So it's an ancient, more like a Hellenistic style of predictive astrology. Chris Brennan and the Astrology Podcast talk a lot about this technique if you want to learn a little bit more and learn this technique yourself. But I wanted to go through some reviews of my profection because I love these kind of stories and it's really helpful for people learning how to do predictive astrology. And I kind of wanted to show you guys through my chart how you kind of use it and how it kind of shows the themes for the year ahead. So profection techniques are used to kind of determine your next 12 months from your birthday to your next birthday. So if you have a look at this chart, you can see I've got the profection. My birthday's in June, so this profection chart's actually for June 22 to June 23. So keep that in mind. Now, when you look at this profection chart, you can see there's lots of little numbers going on inside the circle. This is like a natal chart, right? There is another photo that I'll show you a little bit later that's simpler than this one. But I just wanted to show you this because basically every birthday you have, you turn a different age, and that basically highlights a new profection year for you, which tells you about your year ahead, which is really amazing. Like, who doesn't want to know what the energy is going to be like for the year ahead and what themes are going to pop up for them? So if you look at my chart for June 2022, the profection year, I was in an 8th house profection, and Scorpio rules my 8th house. Mars is the ruler of Scorpio. We're using traditional astrology here, so the traditional chart rulers, which is Mars. In my chart, you can see that Mars is down there in Leo in my 5th house, conjunct Jupiter and very close to Venus there. That same Mars also sends a sextile to my Mercury over in Gemini, and it is also opposite my Saturn that is in Aquarius in the 11th house. So please keep this all in mind because the 11th house, the 3rd house, the 5th house, and the 8th house are all activated because of the profection ruler, which is Mars for Scorpio for this year ahead, and the 8th house. But it highlights the 5th house because that is where my natal Mars is placed, which is the ruler of this profection. And then because of the aspects, it's bringing in the 11th house and the 3rd house as well because of Mercury and Saturn there. Now, this chart is a lot simpler to understand and to look at. So again, as you can see, I've taken my natal chart out of it, but this is still the profection chart for that 8th house Scorpio for me. And you can see all the ages on the inner circle. So every birthday you have, you'll kind of turn a different profection year. So for me, as you can see, 8th house Scorpio, and you can see the number 31 there. If you look carefully, I know this is kind of probably hard on your phone, but the age is 31 for that one, which I had a lot of really interesting experiences that year. Firstly, pretty much as soon as this profection chart started for me, around about June the 9th, which is my birthday, I had so many different things changing and happening for me. So I was on maternity leave. So I went on maternity leave right at the end of May. So pretty much as soon as this switched over, I went on to maternity leave. I also was made redundant at the job that I was at. So I got a payout for that, which is 8th house topics, because 8th house is other people's money. It's like taxes, debts, loans, inheritances, like money that's like owed to you, like big lump sums of money, like investments, like all that kind of stuff. It's your partner's money. So also explains my husband's money. But I did get a lump sum payout for my maternity leave from the company that I was working at and made redundant. So I got the redundancy payout, which is 8th house themes. Now, that money that I had, what ended up happening with that is that we used that money for our wedding. So a lot of that money actually went on our wedding, which was actually in February 2023. So that kind of fell into this chart as well. So that was the main thing, was the redundancy, and then the saving and spending a lot of money on the wedding. So the money that I had saved from the redundancy and the maternity leave, obviously some of that went on bills, but a huge chunk of it. So I think we ended up spending about $15,000 on our wedding. So a lot of that was my savings that we spent on the wedding. So yeah, from the redundancy and stuff. So again, that's 8th house themes, is because it's like, bills and large lump sums of money for the wedding. Of course, like 8th house is also deep bonds. So again, you would see an 8th house profection probably show up when there is a wedding and a merging of income, a merging of money, a merging of resources, and you now have a husband, and that kind of is reflected through that 8th house topic, if that makes sense. So that was really interesting to see that as well. But my favorite thing that happened during this profection year, so remembering that this is from June 2022 to June 2023, I gave birth to my first child, my beautiful son. I'm so blessed, so lucky. So that also happened in the 8th house, which again, death and rebirth, endings, that is all 8th house topics as well. So it wasn't surprising that I gave birth during an 8th house profection. They were really the main themes, like the big standout ones that happened is obviously the redundancy of the payout, gave birth to my son. Again, that was pretty much very early on, like very early on in the profection, because I had him on the 21st of June. And then I got married in February. So February 2023. Again, these things are all 8th house. Now, where it gets funny is because it also links to the 5th house, because the 5th house is about children. So, I mean, it's not surprising, again, as I said, that I gave birth during that profection year with that linkage between the 5th house and the 8th house. The 11th house gets drawn into it because I guess the 11th house usually reflects your big wishes and dreams and your goals. So it is known for linking to friendships and groups in the community that you're a part of, but it also links to like the big wishes and dreams and goals that you've got. And my journey with IVF was really difficult and really challenging, and I never thought I'd be able to have children. So having him was definitely a blessing. It was a goal. It was a wish. It was what I really wanted. The other thing that come through this is because I was made redundant from my job and got that payout, I actually focused on my creative projects a little bit more, which is 5th house, and trying to get my own business up and running with astrology and tarot and candles and doing all the things that I love doing. So again, that was highlighting that 5th house of like creativity and like your entrepreneurial skills and small business. So that was really cool to see as well. The 3rd house linkage is I was using social media quite a lot. And the 11th house links into that as well, because the 11th house is like technology, audience, groups, and friends. And then the 3rd house links to friends as well in a certain way, but it's mostly news and social media. But I was using the internet and social media and like my friendships and communities and groups that I've met through that as support for being a new mum, so going through this mum journey. But it was also there for me to build my business and this new career and a new way of making my income, because obviously now I was kind of technically unemployed and made redundant, and I had a new baby. So yes, I was on mat leave, but we used a lot of that money for the wedding. And so I was very quickly thinking, I don't want to have to go back to work. I want to look after my baby, especially, I wanted to not work until he was a little bit older. And so like all these things were going through my head. So there was a lot of push and focus on being a new mum, but also trying to do so much astrology stuff and really kickstart a lot of like my entrepreneurial business side of things off, which again all links into the 11th house, the 3rd house, and the 5th house, because I was using like social media and like trying to be creative, using my hobbies and my skills with astrology and trying to make money from that, make an income, make a bit of a plan to move forward with how I was going to make money in the future. So there was like all of that entangled, which was really interesting. But the last and final thing was, as I thought about death a lot and aging and dying, I thought about getting things like death insurance for my son, thought about doing a will and all those sorts of things. I was thinking about dying quite a lot. So that kind of all tied in. And that was pretty much my 8th house profection year.